Asked Thursday if a mask mandate could return to Alabama, the state's governor, Kay Ivey, said,
I want folks to get vaccinated. That's the cure. That prevents everything. Why we want to mess around with just temporary stuff?
Face coverings will be mandatory in public schools in Boston, Atlanta, and Chicago when they reopen next month. Asked if masks...
Snore less, and feel healthier. Experience Navage at zero risk. Go to Navage.com, buy Navage, and use it for a month. If you're not delighted, return it for a full refund. There's nothing to lose and a lifetime of better breathing to gain. Navage, N-A-V-H-E-E.
Brian Clark, ABC News.
I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network. First Energy Corporation admitted the company's role in the state's largest ever bribery scandal and agreed yesterday to pay a $230 million fine. Kevin Landers, with ONN affiliate WBNS-TV in Columbus, says a release by federal prosecutors raises new questions about Governor Mike DeWine's possible connections to the scandal through the man he appointed to chair the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio.
While the government didn't name Sam Randazzo by name, it's clear that's who they were talking about, alleging he accepted $4.3 million from First Energy. Randazzo was appointed by Governor Mike DeWine. And are you confident that your office is in any way involved?
Yeah, I'm certainly confident. I know what I did and what I didn't do.
DeWine's challenger for governor, Nan Whaley.
This is going to the top levels of our state government, and it is time for Mike DeWine to say what he knew and when he knew it.
From the State House, Kevin Landers.
Randazzo resigned from the PUCO last fall. DeWine says campaign money he received from First Energy is being donated to the Boys and Girls Club. The Better Business Bureau is warning that scammers are targeting Ohioans with misinformation about how to get the new child tax credit, pretending to be with the IRS.
You never have to send money to receive money that you either won or are owed. And the IRS is never going to contact you via text message either.
Jessica Kapkar is with the Central Ohio BBB. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
Calls and conversations continue in less than 3 minutes as the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues after this.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
Fallensby, West Virginia, get ready, because on Saturday, July 31st, live from the Blue Wave Center, NCW Wrestling presents Night of Superstars, featuring former WWE superstars Matt Cardona, Brian Myers, Eric Rowan, Connor and Victor of the Ascension, and much, much more. Tickets are available right now at NationalChampionshipWrestling.com.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Friday. Partly to mostly sunny skies, a warm day with a high near 83. Partly cloudy overnight, a low of 63. Plenty of sunshine and a warm and muggy day for your Saturday, with highs near 88 degrees. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
In the year 1898, Marconi sent his first radio message across the English Channel.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Let's have a tune. I'm sick of this silence.
There's nothing wrong with being fun and popular and just giving people what they want.
This is not a radio fantasy camp. We're on the air here.
You seem happy this morning.
Is it Friday already?
Friday.
All I'm doing is getting on the air. The revolution will be broadcast.
How about Friday?
What's this?
Did you ever hear of a thing called radio?
Thank God it's Friday!
It's showtime.
The Valley is nearing a return to normal, and we're celebrating with the 100 days of summer. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Here we go with a Friday show, Italian Festival weekend here in the Upper Ohio Valley, and something more important than that for me, we'll talk about it in a minute. 59 degrees, clear skies at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 60, and a little bit overcast still here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling. It is going to be a dry and comfortable day today, 81 the predicted high, not too muggy, just fairly pleasant. Muggy levels and heat will increase for the weekend. All the details coming up with Zach Petty half an hour or so from now as we have our morning weather chat. Here's what we have to look forward to over the course of the morning this morning. Governor Justice has made multiple appointments to governing boards at WVU and at Marshall University. I mean, a lot of them. And there are an awful lot of what I call West Virginia connections. Is the governor trying to stack the deck to give himself personal power and control over our two land-grant universities? Or is it just a big coinky-dink? Brad McElhenney in today to talk about that. He's taken a look at all of these different appointments and connections and asked the governor about it yesterday. The governor was not too happy about that. We will talk about that with Brad coming up in just a bit. Of course, it's a Friday. Newspaper editor John McCabe and I have the Friday Roundtable review of top local news of the week, including an update on the fireworks enforcement and on paving projects and others in the city of Wheeling. It's a Friday with the end of the weekend with the Friday Funnies, including some late-night comedy and some stand-up comedy as well. A group of local labor leaders and activists and advocates gathered in Wheeling yesterday to talk about what they call the Manchin Compromise on voting reform. Leading discussion was former Secretary of State Natalie Tennant, and she is with us here in just a moment or two. And Biffy, in the Lordy, I'm getting old department, and that's a department that many of you open the door to every day. I mean, I'm getting to be an old codger, no question about it. Biff, this weekend, besides the Italian festival, this weekend is my 50th high school reunion. Half a century since I graduated Philadelphia High School. Oh my God.
Probably doesn't seem like it was that long.
It does until you stop to think about all the things that happened in between and all the stuff that has occurred. And oh man, 50 years ago, not today, of course, but 50 years ago this year, it was graduation time for Old Monroe. And of course, as many people say, high school was among my favorite times of my life. I wasn't a big jock. I wasn't a big popular kid. I was just I was chairman of the president of the math club. You know, that was my excitement. I was in the chess club. That was my excitement. Although I started in radio and in television when I was in high school with on the radio at the station up on the hill. I did Teen Line, Teens Talking on Teen Topics on Saturday mornings. And I was a cable TV guy before there was cable TV on the Waco cable channel, Waco, Wheeling Antenna Company, the Waco cable channel. I did It's Your Bag, which was supposedly a TV talk show. It was strange. 50 years ago today. 50 years ago, not today, but 50 years ago this year, 1971, could well have been the year that marked the start of the digital age, when the microprocessor was invented. You know, we got the computers and the Apple Watches and the phones and everything now. When I was graduating high school, the microprocessor was just invented. Transistor technology was just reaching its high point. Big deal were handheld calculators. Whoa, those were really exciting. Handheld calculators. First year that the North Sea oil production began in Norway. Let's see. It's when Greenpeace was created, signaling a concern about the economy, or ecology, I should say. 26th Amendment was approved the year I graduated high school. Voting age in the U.S. was lowered to 18 years of age. In point of fact, I believe it was the very first show I ever did on Teen Line, Teens Talking on Teen Topics. It was on, should we lower the age to 18? It was 21 when for most of the time I was in high school. Of course, the Vietnam War was in big as well. Disney World opened during the year I graduated high school. We're used to it now. It's a standard part of our travel plans. But Disney World opened during the year that I graduated from high school as well. First space station put up by the Soviet Union this year. And, man, I'm looking at some of the fashions of the year right now. I'm not even going to hold them up to the camera. But, boy, we thought these things were fashionable, I guess. God. Anyway, you want to feel old? Hit your 50th high school reunion. So I shall see, and I haven't gone to very many. Have you gone to many of your Central reunions?
I think we've had either 5 or 10.
Yeah.
I think went to, and I don't think actually next year will be 20. Will be the 20th.
Wow. Will you go to your 20th?
Probably.
I went to my 5th high school reunion, and like you, maybe my 10th. I'm not even sure. I know I went to my 5th, and then I haven't been then since. The argument I've always made is that the people I knew in high school that I wanted to see again, I see again, and the rest I was like, didn't care to see you in high school. Don't want to see you at a reunion. Have reacquainted, of course, with a number of people from high school because of Facebook. That is one of the positive things that Facebook has allowed us to do. So I'll be curious tonight to see some of the faces from the past. But man, 50th high school reunion. Beth, I must be showing my age though. I don't think I looked as. I mean, I'm not a young spry man, but I don't think I look like an old guy. Yesterday, at Generations, there was a gathering of labor leaders and activists and advocates and a number of different people talking about the For the People Act, the Voting Rights Bills, the John L. Lewis Act, and also how Joe Manchin wants to modify some of those in order to be palatable to him. They call it the Manchin Compromise. Kind of leading that conversation was former Secretary of State Natalie Tennant. And at one point, she was making a point about, how far back things go. And she said, some of you who are older might remember this. Who's the oldest person in this room? Then she turned and looked at me and said, Howard, is it you? Wait a minute. Do I look like I'm the oldest person in the room? Madam Secretary, did you have to pick on me right away?
Well, I was looking for people who's going to celebrate their 50th high school reunion, and that just seemed a good starting point.
I started looking around to see who the old. Yeah, you were like, there are some old folks here. I'm like, who are they? Let me look and see. Howard, is it you? Gee, Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, that's the way some county clerks appoint it. But sometimes, I walk around in my world. I'm the youngest of 7 children. So everywhere I go, I think I'm the youngest. And there are people who are like 40 years old. And it's like, Natalie, you're not younger than they are. But that's just the mentality I have. Well, of late, just like when you realize I'm celebrating my 50th high school reunion, it's like, oh, geez, I could be the oldest one in this room. And so I was ready to take credit for that. Then I did look around. I saw you and John and his wife. She took credit, though. She's like, no, it's me.
Yeah, the only one that stood up and raised his hand and said, no, I think I'm older, is Big Dog, John Sampson. He goes, I think I get a year or two on Howard, so. At any rate.
Yeah.
Nice little gathering there at Generations yesterday.
Mm-hmm. We've had some of these roundtables all around the state because it's just an indication. And I told Jocelyn King, she's like, what are these for? And I said, this is just putting in person and showing it tangible, the numbers that we talk about, that 79% of West Virginians, Republican, Democrat, Independents, support what is in this bill. And so then when you go and, talk deeper about the legislation, this is the opportunity to see the people who really support it, that it's just not this number out there. And we've seen that all summer long, all across the state, in all kind of different events and venues.
I think it actually may have been the last time you were on the show, was right after Joe Manchin had written his Charleston Gazette op-ed, which kind of hit like a bombshell for a lot of people because he based it, I'm not voting for the People Act. Yesterday, the focus was in your various town halls or little forums about this around the state, The focus is on what you guys are calling the Manchin compromise. Senator Manchin has made it clear he does not like the For the People Act as it has been originally written and presented, SB 1, but that he is open to some modifications. And that's the issue that you're trying to get across, and that there are modifications to it that might make this palatable to Senator Manchin, because he is the swing vote again.
Right. And we've seen that happen from the very beginning, that there's the opportunity that this bill has been improved, changed upon, and that's what I kind of took us through the timeline also from H.R. 1, that it's first called, that passed in the House, and then the concerns of county clerks and of secretaries of state and local election officials across the country. A lot of changes were made about timeline and funding and requirements and things like that. And then when Senator Manchin came out, dropped the bombshell, that's a great way to put it, Howard, because we think he surprised even some on his own staff. And it's like, we've been working with him, talking with him. I'd text him and he would call me. And then he comes out with this op-ed. And, I'm wondering if he thought, well, this will be the end of it, and nobody will talk about it anymore. I'll make my point. And it didn't happen like that. He was treated with respect, and the respect came from the constituents in the state who said, no, this is not right. We're gonna work even harder to convince you. And then when the Senate leadership said, okay, Senator, show us what you do want. And then, in good Joe Manchin fashion, he comes back and starts making the deal. It starts with the compromise. So it's really a good step where we are. And it's been an interesting summer of activism, of compromise, of working back and forth, and people understanding and realizing what really is the situation with elections. I take questions all the time. I just answered a question today when people say, well, tell me somebody who didn't get to vote. So, I go on to explain it, and I can explain that here, too, of many of the reasons why we need the provisions in this bill.
Well, the biggest reason is we want to get some consistency and standardization across the country. We want to prevent some of the wild-eyed proposals coming from some of the Republicans in the individual states. But states is an issue in this bill. For an awful lot of people, this is perceived as a states' rights issue. I don't like that phrase because that takes us back to the days of racial discrimination and so on. But for a lot of people, this is a states' rights issue. It's the federal government trying to intrude on what has traditionally been the purview of the state, which is to control and operate its own elections.
I know. And I understand that people have that concern, because when on the surface, you would think, yeah, here comes the federal government, and they're going to tell us what to do. And so I understand where someone would think that. That's the misinformation, and that's the lack of going deeper into, let's just think about this for a second. And this is why when I started out talking yesterday, Joe Manchin is the perfect person to talk about this compromise, because he implemented a federal piece of voting rights legislation, the Help America Vote Act, in 2002. Did that federalize elections? The same thing could be said about that legislation. But everyone agreed that we needed it, didn't we, because of what happened in Florida with the hanging chads and all the problems down there. And all the Help America Vote Act did was make a guideline, a standardized guideline for election administration. And now people, they didn't take over elections. Neither did the Voting Rights Act of 1965. I mean, those people who are saying that this is federalizing elections in 2021, are they saying the same thing? Or are they supporting the Voting Rights Act now that was the promise that was made? The same goes with the Motor Voter Bill in 1993. And so it's not that I dismiss it. I accept what they're saying. It's just not the reality. It's just a boogeyman under the bed comment to make that it's going to federalize. Tell me where it has done that. Because there are West Virginians who would certainly benefit, who were disenfranchised in 2020. And I'll just explain which one. I mean, Same-day voter registration would have changed that. In one county alone, nearly 200 people had their ballots rejected because they voted in the wrong precinct. Had you had same-day voter registration, they'd have been able to update their registration and have their ballots counted. And so that's why let's
pause there for a second.
Okay.
Let's pause there for a second. Secretary of State Mac Warner, who was with us yesterday, as a matter of fact, says that the problem with that is we don't have adequate broadband and internet capabilities in West Virginia to implement same-day voter registration because you have to have internet to do that.
Really? Why? Does he say why?
You gotta, I don't know.
Exactly. Because Maine, New Hampshire, Minnesota have had same-day voter registration since before there were the internet. So that's null and void. That's not even an argument. That's not even an argument so much that about a month ago, I heard the Putnam County clerk on statewide TV, he's now the president of the Clerks Association, not even use that as an excuse, not even say that that was the reason why we shouldn't have same-day. His reason was, well, it just seems like it would be unfair to the people who are already registered to vote. Now think about what he just said.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Allowing people to vote same day would be unfair to me, for example, because I've already registered.
Because you're one of the old people in the room? That was the point that I was making yesterday. So you get to go vote first because you've been registered longer than anybody else. And so somebody who wanted to get registered or update their registration on election day wouldn't get to because it would be unfair to you.
One of the things that Senator Manchin is proposing in his compromise, if you will, is a voter ID. There's a voter ID part of that. That is something that has not been particularly a strong point of the Democrat proposals, but the senator would like to see some identification shown, some kind of voter ID shown at the polls.
He is right. I mean, I don't know anybody who doesn't want identification shown. We want people to be who they are when they register to vote. You know, I'm the toughest secretary. I've been the toughest secretary in our state's history to crack down on any election fraud. Let's not say when I cracked down on people and sent them to federal prison, it was elected official fraud. It wasn't voter fraud. So anyway, yes, we want people to be who they are and to be able to identify them. There's no question about that. The manner in which you go about that. So when we talk about voter ID in West Virginia as opposed to For the People Act, it is in the For the People Act, very similar to what West Virginia's is. And I think with the senator, I haven't had the chance to talk to him about voter ID because the whole line is, oh, it's taking away West Virginia's voter ID, and Senator Capito says this too. And I'm like, Senator, do you know how West Virginia's voter ID law works? Because we have, if you don't have an ID when you go to vote, and you're already registered, so there's already been some indication. That's the point. When you get registered to vote, you've already indicated that you are who you say you are, and your name is on the poll books. So in West Virginia, if you go and you're like, oh, I forgot my wallet, my phone's not with me, I don't have it in my, then one of the remedies is you could be with an adult, 18 or older, who's known you for 6 months or more, and say, that's Natalie. I'll sign and say that that's her, and she can register to vote. Or, I'm sorry, she can vote. Second, if the poll worker knows who you are and you've been coming to the same polling place, they say, I know Natalie, she can vote. Third is if you don't have 1 and 2 don't work, you as the voter sign an affidavit that says, yes, I am who I say I am, and I'm signing this to prove it, and I will vote a provisional ballot. The clerk goes back and checks your signature from the affidavit to, guess what, the signature on the poll book, and indicates and says, yes, this is Natalie, we're going to count her vote. Does that sound familiar?
The provisional ballot really is the catch-all for all of these problems. I mean, if you show up at the wrong polling place and you don't have time to get to another one, or if you don't have ID and nobody recognizes you, hard to believe in West Virginia, by the way. I walk into a polling place and every poll worker goes, hey, Howard, you're over here. I mean, everybody knows who you are. But the fallback is, if any of those things happen to you, you can insist that you still want to vote. You vote the provisional ballot, and then it is checked at a later date, and it's not counted until it's checked and verified. So it really is the fallback for all this stuff.
Well, let's, like, I know what you mean by fallback, but it's a false sense of security in some cases. Like those voters that I talked about earlier who voted in the wrong precinct, they were rejected at canvassing. They went, the county clerk and the county commission checked them and said, nope, they were in the wrong precinct. So they were rejected, and they didn't get to vote. They were disenfranchised, where same-day voter registration could have fixed that. Now, provisional ballots are very important, and guess what they came out of? The Help America Vote Act of 2002. Was that a federal takeover? No. That's just the standardized way that we do those ballots. That can help, because many provisional ballots are counted. And the same county clerk that I heard on TV said, provisional ballots could change elections, and people would be unsure of what happened on election night then after canvassing. He's exactly right. What's wrong with that, with counting everybody's vote and making sure that the person who got the most votes won? I mean, does he want to stop at election night and not count provisional ballots? I know I'm getting way deep now, but a provisional ballot does give a little bit of breathing room to the election administrator and to the voter to come back and say, well, here's my ID also. But that's also a way that we could implement same-day voter registration if people want to continue down the road of, we don't have the internet. Well, we have, we could do a provisional ballot. But I want folks to think about this, because I said this yesterday out loud, and I realized, how even more passionate that I've even become, even since being Secretary of State, in thinking about voting and how people get to polls every day. The same-day voter registration, I mean, that's a way to use it. Like, if someone registers the day before, they go in person the day before the deadline of registration, and they walk out with a voter registration card, and then the next day they go vote. What's the difference between same-day?
Yeah,
because
one day or
same-day
still
registration, you still have to bring all the ID and all the information that you had to do the day before in the clerk's office. There's no mailing out. There's no checking the internet. And I know what they're trying to say is that you would give credit to someone, but I can't go vote. I can't go to Fairview and vote and then go to Wheeling and vote. I don't have identification, an address that shows that I live in Wheeling and have proper identification. Do you see what I mean? There is part of this that is a requirement, and Internet's not going to change any of that.
The reality is, and I think the statistic that's going around is 79%. The reality is that the basics of these voting acts are supported by an overwhelming majority of West Virginians, not just countrywide, but West Virginians overwhelmingly support the basic premises in this act. And yet the political reality is that you are still going to see on Capitol Hill a lot of Republicans who are going to vote against it. I mentioned yesterday, I've talked on the show over and over again, Madam Secretary, that my concern is that as a practical matter, the Republican leadership and then those who follow it on Capitol Hill in particular, and more so in West Virginia, have a strong enough and powerful enough hold on the political system that they don't have to pay attention to what the people want. All they have to do is make sure they can get enough campaign cash and stay in a safe gerrymandered district, and they can do what they want to do. And their objective is to stop anything the Democrats want to do. We're in a difficult political situation right now.
Right, and that's why there has to be bold action, bold courage to make some kind of move toward this piece of legislation, because that's what this legislation will do. It will, shine a light on the secret money. No more anonymous money being able to be put into super PACs if you would have this bill. And I made the analogy. I get a lot of $25 donations and I have to tell who all of those people are, but someone could write $125,000 check to a super PAC and we wouldn't even know it. And there are folks who want to keep it anonymous. And that's not a good thing. And then the whole gerrymandering thing, August 16th is our deadline. And so when folks say, are we really going to get something done by then? Well, I think, we're all human beings and we work on deadlines. And I think we're going to come up against something. And, it's not, I hate the word, we'll see what happens. No, something is going to happen. Or we're going to be in bad shape for the next 10 years and beyond. Because how you ever going to get past?
Gerrymandering is really at the heart of the problem. The reality is that Republicans have spent a nice good 20 years or so manipulating state legislatures to get themselves in a position of power where they can then draw the districts, just as we're about to do in West Virginia and every place else, redistrict again. And they use the gerrymandering ability to redistrict themselves into very safe districts where 79% of the state may say they prefer voting acts, but they've got a district where the Republicans are strong enough, the Republican voters are strong enough that they aren't part of that 79%. Gerrymandering in some ways is at the heart of our current problem.
Right. You're exactly right. And, there's this saying, especially North Carolina was like the big focal point of it. The court wrote, they gerrymandered with surgical precision. Now, it's not just, and it's not just Republicans. Democrats did it in Maryland, but we have to keep an eye out. Like, here's another way to do it. You're like, well, there are blue areas of our state, Morgantown, some sections of Kanawha County, Charleston, and what a committee can do is make an area even bluer. That we're going to concede that these people are all going to vote Democrat. We'll leave that Democrat, but we'll just put a whole bunch more Democrats in there. They're going to win anyway. So then it dilutes any blue voters, any Democrats in other areas that would, fight back against any Republican. Does that make sense? If you think
it does, and of course the flip of that is the more blue voters you put in the already blue districts, the more red voters are left behind in the red districts, and that's the problem. Madam Secretary, I have to run for the time being. I appreciate your time today and the work that you do. You're spending an awful lot of time on this. You get to see your family much? Because you seem to me you're always traveling around. I see you on Facebook or Twitter or at different events and so on.
Yeah, it's important to do. I mean, we have until August 16th. So, when they talk about the hot girl summer, this is your hot girl summer, hot election. Yeah, exactly. And I'm loving it. I mean, that's the thing. I love it, and then, get fired up even more about it when I hear statements that are coming from election administrators. I mean, we could always get into that later on, but yeah, it's worth it. And if people don't see it on the surface and they think, well, West Virginians was fine. We can't have that limited view or that provincial attitude because, what may be fine in one county, even in West Virginia, may not be fine 5 counties away.
Well, and we have to be careful. West Virginia may be fine today, but in this climate in our state, who knows what tomorrow brings too, without some standards being set. Hey, I do have to run, Natalie. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Certainly appreciate you pointing out how old I am, but I won't hold that against you.
Enjoy it tonight at the reunion.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Former Secretary of State Natalie Tennant here this morning on the Watchdog Morning Show. 7:39. I'm way behind time. Hey, Biff, is that any surprise to you?
No.
Okay, just checking. Why don't we do some headlines from the Big Seven? And Zach will be in with Ohio Valley weather coming up next. This is the Watchdog Morning Show.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's time for your local news headlines from 7 News at WTRF, My Ohio Valley, and ABC Ohio Valley. Only on AM 1600 WKKX. The Watchdog.
Good Friday morning, Ohio Valley. I'm Stephen Ruffin with your 7 News headlines. Some new details this morning in a shooting at Max Club last year. The man charged in the incident, Daryl Lassane Jr. has just been sentenced to 30 years behind bars. According to officials, Lassane shot and killed Donovan White on June 13, 2020. Witnesses provided police with a description who were then able to ID Lassane using surveillance footage in the area. The parents of Donovan White were upset to see Lassane plead down to second-degree murder, but prosecutors believe it was the right choice. The UNDO's Upper Ohio Valley Italian Heritage Festival kicks off today after a year off due to the pandemic. Vendors are all set up and ready to go for the 38th year. The fun officially gets underway at noon with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. Organizers are expecting thousands to visit over the next 3 days. There will be no Little Italy or bocce at this year's event, but still plenty of fun to keep you entertained. Tonight, 7 News' very own John Lynch goes inside the dunk tank to raise money for a local nonprofit. Plus, the Italian Village makes its official debut over on 12th Street. The festival runs from 11 till midnight today and tomorrow, and 11 to 6 on Sunday. The Wheeling, Ohio County Health Department is kicking off Vax to School Week. They're holding school vaccination clinics all of next week for students and adults. All 3 COVID vaccines will be available. That was a look at your headlines. Have a great day and a great weekend, everyone.
The annual Wheelin' Feelin' Chili Cook-Off is right around the corner. Join us August 7th from noon to 6 for the Ohio Valley's best chili. Stop on down at Wheeling's Heritage Port to enjoy great food, an antique car show, and live music featuring the New Age Adinas and Eli and the Mojo Kings. The Wheeling Feeling Chili Cook-Off is an International Chili Society sanctioned event, and all proceeds benefit the United Way of the Upper Ohio Valley. Saturday, August 7th at Wheeling's Heritage Port from noon to 6, rain or shine. See you there.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Babies come with lots of decisions.
Cloth or disposable? Crib or bassinet?
So when it comes to protection, go with the safest, most effective choice, vaccination. Get all the recommended vaccines for your baby by age 2 to protect your child against 14 serious childhood diseases. For more reasons to vaccinate, talk to your child's doctor. Go to cdc.gov/vaccines or call 800-CDC-INFO. A message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
We live for piles of paper, countless calculations, and exact on-the-button balances. More than a phone call at the end of the year to make sure you're square with Uncle Sam. We're an internal resource to run payroll, manage bookkeeping, handle accounts payable, prep and file taxes, and consult for the long-term financial health of your business. Always exact. Glessner & Associates.
CA House Music has all the gear to make your music legendary. With all the best gear including Fender, Epiphone, Yamaha, and more, CA House will have you rocking in no time. Get the most for your money with everyday low prices. And we meet or beat internet pricing. Play before you buy and let our product specialists help you pick out the instrument that's right for you. CA House Music, supporting local musicians since 1872. Play music for life.
African Safari Wildlife Park, the Midwest's only drive-through safari park, is home to many animals from around the world. Feed the animals up close and personal from the comfort of your own vehicle. Stroll the walkthrough with its many exciting animals on exhibit and enjoy educational animal programs. Visit the gift shop for souvenirs, food, and cold drinks. Don't miss out on the fun and family adventure and the unbeatable photo opportunities at African Safari Wildlife Park, located in Port Clinton, Ohio. For more details, visit AfricanSafariWildlifePark.com.
The timeless sounds of polka live here. Join us 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays for the Polka Showcase with Rich Biella. Sunday mornings never sounded so good.
If you miss a part of the show or want to listen again, you can find conversations, interviews, and rants on our podcasts at Apple Podcasts or on WatchdogNetwork.com. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
It's 7:45, quarter till the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. It is the day that I will attend my 50th high school reunion today. 50. Half a century. Oh, God, do I feel old about that. In 1971, the average cost of a new home, $25,000. Numbers just came out this week. Average cost of a new home across the country, border to border, coast to coast, over $300,000. Average income per year 50 years ago, $10,600. Average income now, $31,000. I think it's $31,300. New York Times began publishing parts of the Pentagon Papers on this year in history. The NASDAQ, we always talk about the Wall Street, the Dow, the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ debuted in 1971. And, of course, the Vietnam War was still in full swing. 60% of Americans were against the Vietnam War in 1971, the year that I graduated high school. God, it's a long time ago. Well, let's check the weather on this day. It's looking like it's going to be an okay day. Still a little overcast here at my home studios. The airport says it's clear. Let's bring in Zach Petty from the Big 7. Zach, good morning.
Hey, happy finally Friday, Howard. How are you today?
I am good. Excited about the Italian Festival. That's tonight. I'm going to be going to my reunion, the Italian Festival over the weekend. So should be a good weekend all the way around. Is it going to be a good weekend weather-wise?
Well, in terms if your weekend starts today, I would say more so yes than no. Looks like at least for this morning, Howard, like you said, it looks like a little overcast, a little cloudy outside. Yeah, we do have some mid to upper level clouds kind of hanging around for most of the region. There are some areas of southeastern Ohio that are noticing a bit more sun, not so much for us here in the Panhandle immediately, but it's still another nice and refreshing start. We got temperatures sitting in the upper 50s, right around 60 degrees for most of us. Looks like that's everything just updated. Looks like 59 is the common theme from Chester to New Martinsville, with Moundsville coming in at 60 degrees. So pretty comfortable, pretty refreshing start. Muggy levels are going to be cooperative once again today. Looks like clouds will stick around for most of the day, since yesterday probably was, again, I'll say it again, probably one of the nicest days of the summer. Nice, comfortable temperatures, cool breeze, no mugginess. What more could you ask for? Now, the only thing that's going to be different for today is two things. A couple more clouds in the skies. Temperatures will also get a couple degrees warmer. We'll max out thermometers in the low 80s, but no threat for rain. Muggy levels will cooperate. A fantastic day to start off the Italian Festival this afternoon.
But I gather from your cautionary words at the beginning, the rest of the weekend may not be quite as good.
It won't be. The only thing to factor in for Saturday, aside from no rain, muggy levels will start to get slightly sticky. Temperatures will also start to warm back up. It's not going to be that oppressive heat wave, Howard, where you were talking yesterday. You would get a beer, you take 2 sips, and then it turns warm. It won't be that hot, but it'll still be warm. I expect 87 for the high tomorrow. Again, we'll continue on to see partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies, so we'll continue to mix in sun and clouds on Saturday. But cautionary tales for Sunday, because rain showers are expected. Dew point temperatures will be in the oppressively muggy category. Pit tripper weather will return. It'll just be sticky, and the weather will make it kerstunk just because of the rain showers in the area. But the one thing that I would be most upset about is the dew points. Those muggy values will be back in the oppressively muggy. It'll feel like we have a tropical moisture air mass overhead.
And as we head into next week, Monday may be a little rainy, but then it's going to be a real pit dripper, it looks like, on Tuesday. We're going back close to 90. Is that right?
We're going to be flirting, Howard. We're going to be flirting with 90 degrees both Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday, looking at far out, maybe a few stray showers possible, but high heat is expected. We'll get back in the upper 80s Tuesday, Wednesday. Even though Thursday says 84, I would not be surprised as I look at this next week that I'll be getting close to 86, 87, 88, even maybe we even get into 90 just because of the long-term temperature forecast, even extending into the beginning of August, has well above average temperatures. So would not be surprised if we go through, I'm not going to say a mini heat wave because that's 3 consecutive days of 90-degree plus temperatures, but I would not be surprised if we get at or rather close to 90 degrees a couple of days next week.
As you pointed out, it's fairly pleasant right now. 59, I think it is, at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 60 here at the home studios. When I started out about an hour ago, it was still pretty overcast, and it is overcast here at the home studios, but the clouds are lifting a little bit, so looks like it may clear up here as well. But the temperature really pleasant here to start the morning off with.
Definitely one of those mornings where you want to go sit out and take that hot cup of joe and maybe the Sudoku puzzle and just go sit out and enjoy it just because it's bearable and tolerable to be outside. You don't have to worry about the stickiness, the mugginess. You can also breathe rather easily. Air quality is back to good category levels and just all good things around.
Yep, sounds good. You're going to try and hit the Italian Festival this weekend, is that right?
Yeah, I might try to go after lunch or after the noon today, more so just to not have to worry about any of the traffic, especially yesterday with that accident on I-470 that backed up the major headaches, which, again, I live 15 minutes or so away, and anytime I leave my apartment complex, I get a PTSD feeling because I was stuck in one of the major bad accidents back in October of last year. I was stuck in traffic for 3.5, close to 4 hours. And I missed seeing my grandparents and my parents. They came in for visits. I was going down to Market Vines to pick up food, and I wasn't able to see them because I was stuck in traffic. So anytime I leave going into the late afternoon, early evening hours, I kind of get a little queasy, we'll call it, just because I don't want to get stuck, especially on my sleep schedule, because I don't want to be falling asleep stuck in traffic on a standstill, So I might just do it right after work today.
That's not bad. I usually do. I probably won't do it today because I've got evening plans now. But I usually do right at noon. Is kind of has always been my traditional main Italian festival time. It's a lot of fun. A lot of guys come from offices, and you see some people who haven't seen each other, and all that kind of good stuff. So that's probably a good time to get down there and check things out. Zach, have a good weekend. We'll talk to you again on Monday.
All right, sounds good. Have a good rest of your day, and happy Italian Festival kickoff day for everyone in the Ohio Valley.
All right, talk to you soon. Zach Petty from the Big 7, WTRF TV, here on the Watchdog Morning Show, 7 before the hour. Biff, do I have to do another break?
No, I got everything in.
You are so darn efficient. You just get the things in, and I don't have to take a break. It's not just because he's efficient, it's because he doesn't trust me. It's because he doesn't trust me to take the commercial break when I need to. I do want to talk about our friends at FanDuel. The Tokyo opening Olympics ceremonies were held this morning, right?
Yes, they were.
Not that anybody could watch them, at least not live, but they were there during the beginning of the Olympics. And our friends at FanDuel are hooking new users up with an epic Olympic bonus. Place your first bet of at least $10 on any Olympic sport and get a $100 bonus. Now, you bet at least $20, you'll get a $200 bonus. That's a bonus up to 200 smackarooskies regardless of the outcome of the bet. That's just a bonus, basically just for betting. To get you started, you might want to think about Simone Biles. You might want to think about the men's basketball team. Soccer's got probably a good, strong group of folks that you may want to think about betting on. Place your bets wherever you choose in the Olympics, or, of course, for any other sport, but take advantage of the Olympic bonus. You have to place a bet anywhere in the Olympics, and you will get you place your first bet of $10 or more between now and July 27th, and you get the bonus. Promotions are like this are just part of the reason why our friends at FanDuel have made America the #1 sports book. It's easy to use, it's safe, it's secure, the payouts come to you quickly, and they have all kinds of promotions all the time. They have all sorts of promotions for new users and for existing users, and they've got the same game parlays and just all different kinds of things. So whether it's the Olympics or golf or anything else, place your bet. Place your bets. Place your bets. But before you can, you got to download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Use my name, Monroe, in the promo code box. So download FanDuel, use Monroe in the promo code box, and go for the gold today. I do need to remind you that you must be 21 or older, physically present in West Virginia. First online, real money wager only. Minimum bet $10. The maximum bonus is $200. The bonus is issued as a non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. You have 14 additional days to use it after the bonus goes into your account. There are some restrictions that do apply. You'll find all the details at sportsbook.fanduel.com. And as I always remind you, if gaming is fun, and it is for most people, if it's just part of your entertainment dollar, then by all means, download FanDuel, play FanDuel, have some fun, and sometimes win. But if gambling is a problem for you, don't download FanDuel. Instead, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net, because FanDuel wants you to be a client, but more importantly, they want you to be a good person and to keep your family intact. And I've seen too many of them fall apart over gambling. FanDuel Sportsbook, more ways to win. It's only a couple before the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Next hour, we'll talk with Brad McElhaney. Strange connections, I call them, the West Virginia connections. 6 degrees of Jim Justice. Maybe 3 degrees of Jim Justice. Is he trying to take over WVU and Marshall? Brad McElhaney has a piece about this at WVMetroNews.com today, and he looks at some of the new appointments, including Bray the intern, Bray Carey, among others, to both WVU and Marshall's board, and how some of these connections, they certainly seem to be more than a coincidence. Brad and I will kick that around coming up in the next hour of the show. But right now, why don't we get our political insights before I turn things over to ABC?
These are your political insights from ABC News. A political firestorm over House Speaker Nancy Pelosi blocking 2 Republican congressmen, Jim Jordan of Ohio and Jim Banks of Indiana, from serving on the Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riot. They both voted to overturn the election, and Banks saying the investigation was created to malign conservatives. ABC News congressional correspondent Rachel Scott on what's next.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has suggested that she could add other Republicans to that committee, including Congressman Adam Kinzinger. He also voted to impeach former President Donald Trump. The committee will hold its first hearing on Tuesday. Their first witnesses, 4 officers who defended the Capitol that day.
But House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy reacting, saying that Republicans would boycott the committee altogether and conduct their own investigation. President Biden will make a short trip across the Potomac this evening to campaign for Virginia Democratic gubernatorial candidate Terry McAuliffe. And those are your political insights. Dave Packer, ABC News.
59 degrees, Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 60 here at the home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, about 60 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Just about 8 o'clock, we'll talk about the Olympics, we'll talk about politics. ABC's got all of that. McElhaney and I will get together shortly thereafter, and we'll continue looking back 50 years to 1971, because it's my 50th high school reunion tonight. We are the Watchdog Morning Show.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
No fans in the stadium, but plenty of pageantry.
All right, Biffy, 1 hour down. Brad's up next. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was one of the big songs of 71. At some point, I don't care when, at some point we may use that for bumper. Okay, just a thought. And I am going to go refill coffee, and I'll be back. All right, thanks.